given proper vaccines from time to time, it would not be such a problem. What do you have to say to such activists?
That's really correct. Actually, that is the reason. It's dogs are not the problem. The problem is that the situation was not handled properly initially. And people are being very irresponsible in feeding. They are giving lame excuses and lame reasons to just feed them. So that is the main reason. Dogs in themselves are not the main reason is basically the irresponsible feeding, irresponsible behavior of so-called dog lovers who are not actually dog lovers. You just, like I just now said, that just feeding them randomly is not called dog lovers. You are actually just trying to validate yourself in the society. That's it, nothing else.
Okay, Dr. Asher Jesudoss, member of the Delhi State Animal Welfare Board, is also joining us on the program. Dr. Asher, appreciate you being here with us. From what I have been told, that you don't support the Supreme Court order. Can you tell me why?
Right, so there are multiple reasons for this. First of all, it is I don't know, I don't even know where to start. The first, I think the most important thing is that it's not practically implementable, because right now we don't even know how many dogs there are in Delhi. You know, some people say 4 lakhs, some people say 7 lakhs, some people say 8 lakhs. We don't know. There are no official numbers as to how many dogs there are. I think the scientific way to deal with the problem is to first figure out the scale of the problem. We need to know exactly what number of dogs we're dealing with, right? Secondly, even if you take like a number of 7 lakhs, which is about 3% of the human population, which is generally pretty accurate for any metropolitan city, we don't have the land, we don't have any existing shelters, we don't have the budget, we don't have the manpower, trained personnel required to catch and vaccinate these dogs. So that's one aspect of the entire deal. Now, the second reason is there are 20 ABC centers in Delhi, right, which take care of the vaccination and sterilization of these dogs, and they return them. We've visited each of these sterilization centers, these ABC centers, and they're run by the Municipal Corporation of Delhi. And you know, this dream that we have that we're going to build this amazing shelter and dogs are going to be really happy and vaccinated and well taken care of. That's not the reality. We're a developing nation. We don't have enough manpower. We don't have enough budget. We don't have the wherewithal, the space for so many dogs. In fact, you know, the Supreme Court has proposed that initially you need to start with 5,000 dogs, right? Even for 5,000 dogs, at 3,000 rupees per month, we're talking about 1.5 crores every month just for the upkeep of these dogs. We're not talking about medical expenses. We're not talking about the cost of building the shelter. We're not talking about the cost of sterilizing these dogs, which we still have to do despite the shelters. And after doing all of this, after spending all this money, you know, what you're going to actually do is you're going to take all the dogs from your societies who are friendly, and most of them are friendly, and they're kind of used to the people around them, and you're going to take them out, and what's going to happen is most of these areas are forests, right? We've got forest boundaries. New dogs are going to come in, and they're going to start breeding, right? Now these dogs are not going to be friendly, they're not going to be vaccinated, they're not going to be sterilized. It's going to only increase the problem. And when new dogs come in, they fight with each other to set a pecking order. And when that happens, dogs are going to start fighting with each other. Humans are going to get caught in the crossfire. Their bite instances are going to go up. So we need to think long term, right? We're just like, right now, we're just thinking of this fancy idea कि कोई shelter बना देंगे और सारे कुत्तों को डाल देंगे. It's not that simple. It's an expensive process. It's not scientific. It's not in accordance with the existing order of the Supreme Court, which existed before this. It's not in accordance with the law. It's not in accordance with the WHO's own mandate, which is scientific. It's just not practical. It's not morally right. The dogs are going to. It's just a death sentence for dogs. IIT Madras actually tried this in their campus. They rounded up all their dogs and they put them in a shelter within campus, and they tried to make it really good. But within no time, all the dogs died one after the other. There are documented records of this, So this doesn't work. I mean, we've got multiple cases of why such an arrangement doesn't work. And we've got an existing ABC program, which has been successful in countries like Bhutan, in countries like Denmark, in states like Sikkim, places like Lucknow and Dehradun, states like Goa, where they've had a very successful implementation with a very small number of ABC centers. Delhi, in fact, has 20 ABC centers who claim that they've sterilized 7 lakh dogs in the last 7 years. This is official data submitted by them. We don't even have 7 lakh dogs in Delhi. So which shows that they're just doing all this on paper. They're taking the money in, and we don't know where it's going. But dogs are certainly not getting sterilized, and that's the biggest problem. You've got an amazing set of scientific rules that just have to be implemented. The municipal corporation isn't implementing it, and the dogs are bearing the brunt for something that the corporation is supposed to do. So I hope I've kind of covered. There's a lot more to say, but this is briefly why I don't agree with the judgment, because it's highly impractical, it's
But Dr.
immoral, it's
Asher, India is
unscientific.
also, in fact, one of those very few countries which still has a large share of people who die of rabies. 36% of all the deaths that happen in the world of rabies are attributed to India. Now, that is not a stat that we want to be associated with. I agree with you, that it's not the dog's fault, but there has to be a system, there has to be a shelter, there has to be infrastructure created for these strays. They're not supposed to mix with the normal population. In no other country in the world would you find stray dogs living amidst, the regular civilian population of that nation. It's only in India. There is something very odd and bizarre about it.
Not really. You look at most developed nations, dogs and humans have coexisted for several thousand years, and they still do. Any developed nation would probably have implemented different solutions because they have the wherewithal for that. But most developing nations, you look at Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, you look at some of the Middle Eastern countries like Lebanon, Morocco, whatever. So, all of these countries have street dogs, community dogs that are living with humans. And there are examples of where these populations have been managed really well scientifically. Talking about the bite numbers, there's this absurd number that's being circulated that there are 20,000 deaths that are happening because of rabies. The official number
No,
that
no,
was
it's not
submitted
that
that
high.
was
It's
obtained
about,
from the
it's less than 100, I know.
It's 54. It's 54 and it's not 30% of all the deaths in the world. So, all these numbers are fabricated.
No, it is.
There seems to be some motivated.
It is, Dr. Asher. If only 200 people die in the world of rabies, then that is a big number.
Right, but where are we getting this number of 200, right, from the entire? But anyway, so we're talking about the solutions. When we talk about the solutions, the solution is sterilizing and vaccinating these dogs. What we must understand is that the dog is not the source of rabies. Just like humans are victims of rabies, the dog is also a victim of rabies. So yesterday I was on a news channel where a doctor was asking me, have you ever been to a rabies ward? Have you ever seen a person suffering from rabies? I'm pretty sure it's horrible. It must be really horrible. And I really empathize with the person who's had to go through that. But a dog suffers as much from rabies. I've had dogs die in my own arms who suffered from rabies, who've been bitten by other dogs maybe or other animals, So rabies is something that both dogs and humans are victims of. And a vaccinated dog actually creates a barrier for humans, right? Because all these wild animals roam around and rabies can be caused by monkeys, by bats, by any mammal, right? So vaccinated dogs actually create a barrier, and there's herd immunity that's developed, and that's precisely what we were aiming for when we were trying to immunize ourselves during COVID as well. So what we're now doing is we're taking all these vaccinated dogs away from our societies, and the new dogs are going to start coming in. The bite instances are going to increase, and the chances of contracting rabies are going to also increase because those dogs are not going to be vaccinated. We're looking at a very short-handed, short-sighted approach, and we're not looking at how it's going to cascade into, a system of enormous.
Nidhi, how do you respond
proportion
to what
between-
Dr. Asher has said? Do you agree with what he's saying that we're not looking at this approach scientifically?